So tonight you've invited me to come down to the Nothing Showcase, so the first big event for Nothing Records, your label. That's here in New Orleans.
Yes.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Nine Inch Nails has toured with all three bands at different times. And they all kind of were on tour, and we just routed them through here to play together.
That worked out real well. Good booking.
You're going to see, here's something like
Prick.
Starts with Pop Lead Itself. And then Prick, and then Marilyn Manson.
Okay, so that's tonight. And give me the rest of the actual roster of everybody that's on Nothing.
Other than those three, we have the
Coil,
and new band Trust Obey, that hasn't
from
been
Kansas
yet. And the Natural Born Killers soundtrack.
Hein? Il a fait quoi? Comment il a pu se tirer? C'est impossible. C'est une blague. C'est ridicule. C'est une sinistre plaisanterie.
11 coups de feu, 11 émeraudes.
Vite, à la morgue.
I hear you're quite a computer geek, is that right?
Yeah.
How many hours a week would you say you spend in front of the screen?
Well,
Like if
I mean,
you're not on tour, obviously.
when we write music, we do it on the computer, so all day long, pretty much.
You must have a pretty nice system.
Gets the job done. I mean,
I'm not too technologically aware, you know, I'm sort of like still at my turntable.
yeah.
Maybe you can teach me a little something about the CD-ROM.
Well, I'll show you something.
Show me some tricks?
Yeah.
Nice. Where do you keep your Grammy that you won for Wish? Do you store that?
You know, I was
like,
just thinking
proudly on
about that the
mantle?
other day. No, I don't really have a home at the moment, and last I saw it was at the Tate House somewhere, so it's in a box. Yeah.
So it's not something that you carry around like in your bag and look at every day and know you've accomplished something?
Honestly, I mean, it's flattering to get an award like that, but that doesn't mean anything, you know, because who votes on that? It's out-of-touch music business people and other Grammy winners.
Right.
Like,
Aren't you nominated again?
for something, and we won't win, so.
What are you nominated for?
I know it has the word alternative in the title, but I don't know what.
Most
alternative
alternative.
performance or record or I don't know.
Video, perhaps?
I don't think it's a video. It's something for the album, but.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you see like readers' polls and you win stuff like that.
That means a little more,
I
because
mean,
that's the kids.
real people
That's
that
the
are
real
You know,
people.
buying records and not.
Exactly, that's me voting. You know, if you
I
want.
mean, I know
you.
I voted 200 or 300 times for myself.
Oh, I was just going to say.
I'm kidding.
If you had the opportunity to redo the music for any movie of your choice, what do you think it would be?
None.
None? You've been perfectly content with every movie soundtrack
I
you've
think
ever
every
heard?
movie I've ever seen is great.
So I guess your standards aren't real high.
No, if I was going to, maybe something like the first Hellraiser, something in that genre, something that's kind of creepy. That's
Scary. Kind of like a
spooky.
Nine Inch Nails video,
Like
maybe.
me.
Like you. Now, a lot of, just thinking back in people's careers, I know that a lot of people that are in rock bands started off, you know, maybe they started off acting. What movies have you been in? Or have you, well, I know you've been in one.
None. What are you talking about?
I was talking about your spot in the light of day.
That's somebody else you're thinking of.
Oh, come on, it was a great movie. Don't be ashamed.
It was an awful movie. And that was me getting out of work for a week.
Really?
Getting paid like $100 to. It was fun to do. I mean, we just had a tiny little cameo as a fake band that was playing in this bar.
I heard it was your real band.
No, it wasn't real.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, here's a good scenario. Let's say they decided there was like a big resurgence with Michael J. Fox and they were going to do Light of Day too. Do you think with your success with Nine Inch Nails you might be the leader of the band instead of just the keyboard player for Michael J. Fox? Or is that something you want to pursue? Because I see it in you. No?
No.
Oh, all right, I just thought I'd ask, you know.
Thanks. Thanks for reminding me of that.
You ought to be in pictures.
Attention, opération bouton d'or. Avis à toutes les patrouilles le long de la ligne. Attention, attention. Le train va sortir de la zone alpha. Tenez-vous en alerte. Ordre de signaler immédiatement tout mouvement suspect. Arrêtez quiconque s'approcherait des voies.
Tu les vaux. Allez, monte.
Good.
The hotbed of satanic rock.
Exactly. There's a lot of Satan in Florida. But the timing kind of turned out right, and I approached them about the idea of wanting to work with me on the label, and I thought they were a good example of a band that I think if they were on the wrong major label, could be watered down into something that's not as interesting as it could be, and the potential I saw in it.
Let's do a funny little dance with a funny little monkey, the monkey.
Nothing Records. The good thing is that Trent, being an artist, you know, respects the artist's point of view. So it's, he happens to be the only person in the music industry that I trust, and they gave us the opportunity to put out our record completely raw and unexpurgated, and we didn't have to censor ourselves, and that was the most important thing, because it's not worth it for me to do this unless we do it the way that I want to do it.
Right, and he sees that.
And he sees that, you know.
Je dois voir quelque chose.
Quoi donc?
Regarde. Le foreign office annonce l'arrivée dans notre pays en visite officielle de sa charmante épouse.
Tu as vu ces émeraudes, chérie?
Label now, two of them, Prick and Marilyn Manson, I've been actively involved in production and day-to-day stuff.
You played on the Marilyn Manson record, right?
Yeah, and produced part of it, mixed some of it, things like that. The other thing, Papa Weed itself, is more of a licensing situation where, again, they're an example of a band I've always thought was really good, but in America never really had a chance because the label they used to be on just ignored them.
Trent has picked up on people who are doing what they want to do, the way they want to do it, and giving them the sort of platform, if you like, financially, to be themselves.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, and which basically you won't get from a major company. A major company will realistically at the end of the day go like, well, I can't hear any hit singles there, guys.
So then you're on the back burner.
Is there any hit? Is there a crossover there? You know. I know.
None of that with Trent.
Well, no, they just said to us, you know, like, be yourselves, make the record you want to make, because like they're into what we do, you know, and you can't really ask for any more than that.
They could be lying, of course.
Well, they could be lying, but if they are, you know, we've still had the cash off them.
Excellent. Trent, my friend, I know Howard Stern is a big fan of yours. How do you feel about him? I didn't burp.
It sounded like a burp when you
It was sort of a gurgle. It's a natural thing, you know?
Howard Stern.
He loves you.
Yeah, he was talking about us a lot on the radio. Then he came out and saw us when we played Nassau, but I didn't meet him because I was sequestered backstage.
Do you listen to his morning show? Are you a fan?
What I've heard, I think is pretty funny, but I rarely, A, am up in the morning, or B, think to turn the radio on. So. What
about, now David Letterman is also very interested in you. I hear after Woodstock he was just like, oh, 9 Inch Nails, and he's asked you to play on his show. You're not down with Paul Schaefer? Is that something? No,
I think Dave Letterman's funny. You know, I've always been a fan of his, and but I don't think it's right for us to necessarily do that.
You're probably right. Let me tell you, I'm real happy you're on my show.
No, I'm wondering if that was a good decision.
You're funny. And exciting to be like on a label that's just artist oriented, and while you're working with a friend, it's a good experience.
It's great. It doesn't feel like I'm on a label, so to speak.
Right.
You know, it feels
business relationship.
Yeah, it's
like
really
someone
great.
that you trust.
Yeah. think that's the main thing, yeah.
If you don't want it, other people will. Do it with an attitude. Do it till the heads turn blue.
Brick was basically Kevin McMahon, who was a friend of mine when I lived in Cleveland. And he had a band there that was pretty big before I'd ever lived in Cleveland, called Lucky Pierre. But had never gotten signed. And like Cleveland has this vacuum of bands that can't ever escape from
Cleveland,
the
yeah.
city limits. And just somehow we made acquaintances, and every once in a while he'd play a show and get a band together, and I ended up playing with him as a keyboard player in a couple incarnations of that band. And we just remained friends, and then as Nine Inch Nails took off and I escaped from Cleveland, we'd always just kept in touch, and he'd send me demo tapes every once in a while.
Let me tell you, I've had a real nice time with you today. Could you tell me one thing?
Yeah.
You know, you're about to take the big break. You know, we're not going to hear from you for a while. Is there anything that you're going to sort of put out there for the fans in between the end of the tour and the next record that we can look forward to?
We just filmed 2 shows that we'll probably edit into some sort of movie that will probably come out late summer. We might put out a live
Like a
CD.
Nine Inch Nails movie, or?
Yeah, just a performance of what we did, you know, the show. And the couple nights that we got were pretty silly shows, so it should be.
So we can expect a bit of a comedy coming from, that's a bit of a
Lots of blood
departure
and
from
violence
that. Oh,
and
okay.
that sort of thing.